This program is funded in part by Mass Humanities.
Despite all this great work, a few people said they couldn't do this. Our boys applied for some grant money and they heard no a lot. But a few places, well, they said yes, we want you to keep going and finish this. And that's what they're doing.
Gumshoe historian.
Yeah.
And it's all here. That's the thing.
Like a guerilla history lesson.
Yeah. So Sunday morning, September 30th, 1787, everyone left church, went and got on board the Columbia. Lady Washington was already waiting out in the harbor, and there was quite a contingent of celebrities, John Hancock, Paul Revere, all coming down from their houses in the North End, and they headed down to Hull.
Kind of a canny bit of business in setting up the goods that would be put on the Columbia and the Washington for the first American voyage. The main thing were just bars of iron, blank bars of iron that they called chisels. And they had a blacksmith on board who would then make things on demand for the Indians when they got there.
The pewter medals went on the first voyage. Joseph Burrell sponsored the medal and had it made, obviously in pewter. That was the cheapest way to make 300 medals that would then go on the ship. He wanted to emulate James Cook, who had recently traveled around the world, had published his voyage, and had a medal made for it. I think now we're the only place you can see an example of the pewter, the copper, and the silver.
Okay, so then those are all of the key players.
Woodruff. Oh, right, we do have to mention Woodruff. Simeon Woodruff was the gunner's mate on board James Cook's vessel when he was killed on the shores, when Cook was killed on the shores of Hawaii. He falls off from our story until right before Columbia is to leave. He's hired as first officer, so he's the only person on either Lady Washington or the Columbia who's ever been out to the Pacific.
Okay.
So he's in charge of loading the ships when they're at the dock. He's basically the captain's major domo. Okay. He's in charge of everything, making sure the ships run, but the most importantly, loading the ship when it's at the dock. So late into the evening, they partied and they finally discharged their passengers here at Hull. And headed to bed, probably with far too much drink. They got ready the next morning to catch the tide out of the harbor.
On Sunday morning, being the day we were to sail, we were thronged with the friends of almost all our people. At about noon, Captain Kendrick, Lieutenant Howe his clerk, Mr. Treat the farrier, Mr. Roberts our surgeon, and Mr. Nutting the astronomer came on board with the pilot, accompanied by a great number of merchant gentlemen and others of Boston. The ship was got underway and proceeded down as far as the Nantasket roads, where we were anchored, it being nearly calm in the company with the Washington. The evening was spent in mirth and glee, the highest flows of spirits animating the whole company. Jovial songs and animating sentiments passed the last evening we spent on that side of the continent. Our friends parted not with us until late in the evening, nor then, without the most tenderest expressions of friendship and wishes for our prosperity resounded from every tongue. Early on Monday morning we weighed and came to sail, and by sunrise we were out of the harbor.
So I've been telling you about this man and his scrappy band of filmmakers following this story. You've got to love their passion. I do. And I just want to see how this whole thing turns out.
Just watching how I flip this game. And when I'm walking down the street, I can hear you all screaming my name. I make the boys say, can I get your number, baby? And all the girls standing on my star. On my star. I don't need nobody to tell me who to be or what I am or what I'm not.